Welcome to this Earnestly podcast. Another edition of the Shoot the Shit. I'm your host, Earnestly Christian. Of course, the monthly variety roundtable with my good friends, of course, Rosalyn and Ross out in Memphis, Tennessee, and G.W. Gras, of course, in not Bronx, New York. Where exactly in New York are you now?
I'm in Hartsdale, New York.
Hartsdale, New York. And by the way, before we even get started on today's show, first off, hi, Roz.
You knew it was going to happen, G.
What?
You knew it was going to happen. It's about to happen.
Yeah, we have to congratulate Mr. G.W. Gras, G. Stelio, a.k.a. the Heartthrob. He's going to become a daddy. All these months of me asking him on the show about, have you made a kid yet? It has finally happened. Him and his wife are expecting their first child in August of this year. Congrats, G.
Thanks.
That's it? Thanks. You fucking asshole.
So terrible.
Let me tell you, I'm actually kind of over talking about having a kid because that's what everybody wants to talk about all the time. I'm like, I have no answers for you. I have no information.
Let me ask you this quick. What do your parents think?
Oh, like that's the real. I think my parents are shocked that they haven't been grandparents for the last 20 years. To be quite honest.
Mm.
You know,
you're only child, right?
Is kind of shocked that I don't already have like 2 or 3 kids. So
just so we're clear, you're only child, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Man, they've been waiting, G.
Yeah. Like it was funny because I knew my mom thinks I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. So like whatever.
Well, wait till that kid. Wait, well, you were until
I know exactly.
Now you're done.
To be fair,
more is like my dad. My dad's like uber excited about this, which is cool though, So, I mean, I expected my mom to be excited, but seeing my dad, like the way he's getting excited about being a grandfather is pretty cool to see.
Did he cry?
No. Like the Gras men don't cry.
That's bullshit. You're a Bears fan. What happened in January?
No, I didn't cry. I just punched stuff and broke stuff. I didn't cry. Big difference. We don't cry. We just break shit.
You break shit? We a Limp Bizkit now? Just break shit.
Yeah, I just break shit, man.
No, it's really cool, man. I've always time. I mean, I remember when I was at work when I found out, and my wife and I work in the same place, but we don't work in the same company. And
gotcha.
I remember when I found out, I'm like, holy shit! And I remember the text I sent you. I sent you a big ass text, like in shock. And then I told Lauren, I'm like, dude, G's having a kid. She's like, what?
Yeah, everybody's kind of like it's funny because like I have a close knit group of like people, and they're all excited. It's funny because there's a bunch of people I know having kids around the same time. Like I know 3 people having kids in July, one having one in June, and they're all like friends of mine and stuff.
Oh, really?
And everybody's just excited about my kid, which puts a lot of pressure on my kid already. So,
do you have a preference of sex? Or gender, rather?
I want a girl. I always wanted a little girl. And she wants a boy, so we're not going to find out till the kid is born, really.
Oh, you one of those? You doing that, too? You one of those?
Yep.
A lot of my friends are doing that now. I got a couple of friends one person on this regular podcast, Matt McQueenie, he just had a second kid last month, and they didn't know until literally the day of, another boy. And then one of my good friends at work, she's going to be, her and her husband, both friends with, they're going to find out the day of. I mean, it's like a trend now all of a sudden. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, for me it doesn't matter. I just know I want a girl, so it's better off for me thinking I'm having a girl till August, and then if it doesn't, then whatever. What am I gonna do? It's not like I can return it, so it is what it is.
Scale 1 to 10, G. How nervous are you? 10 being most nervous.
No, I'm not nervous at all.
Really?
No, I'm not at all. Like, what's funny? And I remember Bill Burr saying it on his podcast when he was having a kid. Mm-hmm. You know what's annoying? Like when you tell people who already have kids, or people who you don't even ask them, because I'm not asking anybody for advice, right? I just don't care. I'm not asking people for advice. Like everybody says you're never going to be prepared. There's never a right answer. You're going to do it your way at the end. And if the people kind of like try to scare you out of it, they're like, oh man, just wait till this age. And wait. It's like you guys act like it's the worst of. Why'd you have kids? Like I don't get it. Like of course there's going to be trials and tribulations. You should
guilty as charged.
I know it's not going to be all easy, but don't try to scare me out of it like I got to run for the border now. It's just stupid.
Guilty as charged.
What happened? Yeah, it's like
guilty as charged. Sorry.
Everybody, it's like a weird thing people do. I don't get it.
I don't know. It's like a share war stories. That's all.
Whatever, man. All I know is my kid will be perfect because he or she has me raising it, so that's all that matters.
I ain't gonna lie. I think you'd be a great dad. I told you this in the past. despite your shenanigans and tomfoolery for the years.
Shenanigans.
Yes, and
He
tomfoolery
said
and
you
all
got
that.
shenanigans, G. You
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
shenanigans.
I got a lot of shenanigans going on.
Yeah, despite all that, I really believe that you'll be a phenomenal father. I really believe that. Like
I mean, I always tell everybody, like, everybody's like, oh, why would you want a girl? Like, everyone's surprised. I'm like, because if I'm raising a daughter, like, who's more prepared as a man being the heartthrob to prepare
Definitely
a daughter
you.
for this mate?
Definitely you.
Nobody. No, but and by the way, since we're on, I want to give a shout out to Twan Staley. Congratulations to him actually getting a job at MLB.com. But he was here over the weekend. I got to finally meet up with Twan Staley. We drank some beers and
Oh,
chilled out.
nice.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan too, the other dude who met up with us or whatever. We had a good time. But at one point in the night, Twan looked at me and he was like this: "Yo, I'm so glad I didn't hang out with you in college. You would have got me in so much trouble."
Gee,
we had a good time though. We had a good time.
No,
like,
because Twan and I we hung out many times down here when he was living in Florida. He's very shy, isn't he?
Oh yeah. He's a cool dude though, man. Like,
He's
I
very
like
cool.
Twan, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just, the way he is on Twitter and the way he is on the podcast, it's like he's just so chilled out.
Yeah, he's really chilled out, man.
And when he laughs hard though. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, like he has a real hard laugh, so it's like, you know, we had a good time though. I caught the last train coming out of the city that night, so we had a good time.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. You know, by the way, you still met Kyle. I haven't met Kyle yet.
Yeah, Kyle's a big dude. That's no joke about him being an offensive lineman and whatnot.
I think next time, I think we go to Orlando again next couple months. I'm gonna probably meet up with him at some point.
Actually, I met Kyle twice because when he came to New York, he actually came over here. I got totally ridiculously.
Oh, I know. We heard the podcast. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. We recorded a podcast that day. That was a mistake.
That was great. I loved it.
I don't know what was wrong with me that day. I tried drinking with Kyle. Kyle's like 300 pounds, 6'4". I tried drinking with Kyle, and I was destroyed.
Yeah.
So never gonna do that again.
Right. Okay. So we got a couple things here. It's gonna be normally we go over an hour, but today because of we had to start a little later. I mean, I have to pick my kid from school in about 30, 40 something minutes. So we'll kind of sort of condense the time. So we'll just hit on a couple topics here. First off, did you guys watch the Leaving Neverland documentary?
No, I don't got HBO.
Yeah. Did you watch it, Roz?
Would you watch it, G? Would you watch it if you had it?
Probably, because, I mean, I don't know. I probably would watch it just because I'm a hype beast at my old age, so I'd watch it, but, whatever. I mean, after seeing the R. Kelly thing, it's hard not to want to watch all these. There's a documentary about Teddy Pendergrass I want to see. I'm just the documentary.
Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah, when is that coming out?
It's already out. It's on Showtime. I saw that.
Really?
Yeah, I heard it's really good. It talks about Harold Melvin being a jerk.
There's one coming out on James Brown also, too, on CNN, supposedly.
Dude, did you read the 3-part? First of all, that one it's born out of this 3-part investigative report that they did by getting in touch with this woman who used to write songs with James Brown. Did you read that?
Right.
Did you read that, EJ?
No. I read some of the tea leaves concerning murder, what supposed murder, whatever.
I barely wanted to go to sleep. Like, it scared me. Like, it was so intense that I was reading it like late at night on like a random Friday or Saturday or something, and I was like, I gotta leave the lights on. Like, it was that.
Wow, really?
I don't know. It was that. It was just very interesting the way little bits of information were put together and
right.
Sort of learned the underworld, and like even in the Teddy Pendergrass one of the people I interviewed made the comment like, when there's that much money around, there's always a criminal element, and so. And clearly that was the case with James Brown. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one because the 3-part article was crazy.
Okay, so obviously, G, you didn't watch it because you don't HBO. Okay, Roz, did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
Okay, I did watch it.
I don't want to see it.
No, that's okay. Well, I have opinions on it already. I've had opinions before it aired, but I feel like I still need to watch it. Even though I knew what it was about, I knew what the story was and everything in between. I feel like I had to watch it anyway to at least have a general view of what was said, so I can at least have an informed opinion. What are your? I guess Ross, start first. What are your thoughts now that this is all this stuff that's come out? That I mean, I don't know. Want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's my caveat. So I am, in no way do I support the abuse of any human being.
Absolutely.
Let alone any kids, and let alone any child who is looking up to you and who has been, who is essentially a fan of yours, and you manipulate that relationship to take advantage of it and turn it into something that is very sinister and criminal. But so with that, not even a but. The thing that I struggle with, and a guy who has been following the Michael Jackson story for many, 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 many years, all the way back from when the first suit was brought against him, actually wrote a very sort of like quick hit piece for Forbes, and I don't know if y'all saw that, but he wrote a piece.
It was
for
Joe
Forbes
Vogel. Joe Vogel.
I don't remember his name, and that sucks not to remember his name. But he essentially writes, like, here's the things you need to know before, you need to keep in mind when you're watching the Neverland doc. And I think essentially what he broke down is why I am in this weird sort of place with this information. Mm-hmm. So, yes, was Michael Jackson weird? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, his childhood experience certainly created him to be sort of a weird person. But I don't know if especially based on everything that Jeff broke down, I don't know. It's hard for me. I mean, this is one of the most investigated people ever. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you real quick. I'm pretty strong because I'm pretty well informed about the Michael Jackson situation and all the cases, including this one. Bullshit. Yeah. I smell bullshit. Period. Because this is now this story on the documentary is now their fourth version of the story. If you read the court document, and again, you're not going to get this in documentary because because the documentary was a one-sided hit piece. Okay. Now, I'm not saying,
and as a person in film, I have a huge problem with that. You can't I understand you want to create a narrative, but this is documentary. This is not narrative film. It's your responsibility you can't tell a one-sided story in a doc. You just can't. And you can't legitimize your choice to do so by just saying, like, no, I had a narrative I wanted to push forward, and this is what I chose. You can't do that. But anyway, go ahead, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No, but I because of me, I'm being informed about this case, about the 2005 trial, and then the 1993 allegations. I'm already coming to this thing with apprehension as, okay, well, let's see the details first, because details matter in this situation. Michael Jackson is probably the most investigated person in the history of America. Okay, he had an FBI investigation for 10 years and then some, and found nothing. I'm sorry. I'm going to take the side of the FBI before I take the side of two guys who, by the way, lied already. And look, let's say Michael Jackson actually did molest Wade Robson. Let's say he actually did that. And Wade Robson went on the stand and said that didn't happen. Charlamagne the God said it best on Breakfast Club a couple weeks ago. Why should I believe you anyway? Even if he did do it to you. You lied once already. So how should I believe you now?
Well, and see, that's where I stop short of the criticism of these people, because again, I, have spent probably the last couple of years deep diving into trauma and the way that humans respond to that. So it's not unusual to me that a person who has been abused would somehow find themselves in a space where they are actively and aggressively denying the abuse and protecting their abuser. That's the way your brain can get totally jacked up when this happens. So that's not the thing that's ever going to stop me from saying, oh, this happened to a person. It's every single thing else you've described, and my understanding of what maybe the potential motivations could be at this point, which is that you didn't get your way. You didn't get to do the choreography for Michael Jackson 1 and all this stuff, so now you got a problem. Yeah. So
baby's up. Keep talking.
But I can't. I'm not ready to say, well, they lied about it, because that thing is really tricky, right? Because just the way trauma is. But yeah, he's been the most investigated person, and it's not too many people that the FBI could be on. Any one of us on this call, and none of us are criminals. But any one of us on this call, if the FBI spent 10 years, like, all up in our stuff, like, they probably figure out a way to, like, they probably have to call us in the office about something. I don't know. So not many people could survive that level of investigation. and nothing be found on them.
And I'm sorry, the FBI, the FBI and the Santa Barbara Police Department and the LA Police Department and the DCFS is not covering Michael Jackson. Sorry, that is not happening.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm really struggling with this one, and I get how it might have been really emotional to watch, and I'm sure it was, because that's what narrative film does. Hell.
But that wasn't. But Roz, that was the narrative, though. Because this is a film with no
that's
evidence.
What I'm saying. It was narrative because it wasn't factual.
Because there's no evidence. It's just all it is just a story and notes that so-called love notes. That, by the way, notes that he sent to his fans and employees all the time and family. So again, where's the evidence? I'm sorry. I go back to the whole. And G, I'll get you in a second, buddy. I know we go back to the whole, emotion and believe victims and the Me Too movement and all that. I'm cool. Look, and the Me Too movement for the most part has been a positive thing for this country. I get that. But there's also a negative to it too, and that's the idea of group speak and the mob mentality. And I'm sorry, emotions are cool and all, and you can be emotional and feel emotional about the situation, but facts do not give a fuck about your feelings. Sorry. G, go ahead.
I don't know, I think a part of it that sucks is that, it's two guys telling this story, two adult men, pretty much, and I think that makes it kind of harder for people to see. Meanwhile, when you watch the R. Kelly doc, there was girls from the ages of 19 to, 37, and you feel bad for all of them. Didn't matter the age, or nothing like that. But when you have two adult men, the optics are just different. That's the way society is.
That's a good point.
But I don't know. I honestly think, I'm sure you guys heard of Styles P, 1/3 of the locks, whatever. Mm-hmm. He tweeted out something about people defending Michael Jackson, and he was like, there's no fucking way a grown-ass man has sleepovers with little kids. And he's 100% right. And a big part of this is the parents enabling everything, of course, like people have said. A big part of that is EJ, you're a father, I'm a father to be. There's no way a 40-year-old man is going to invite my 6-year-old son over his house for a sleepover and be there for months. Are you out of your fucking mind? So, there has to be a lot going on. I mean, I wouldn't trust Michael Jackson with my kid at all, because he's a weirdo. Forget about all that. He's a weirdo. Even if he never touched a kid in his life, I'd be like, that dude's weird, stay away from him. If he wasn't Michael Jackson, if he wasn't Michael Jackson, he'd be the lunatic living in your neighborhood. That's the truth. He'd be the absolute lunatic living in your neighborhood if he wasn't Michael Jackson.
Right, no, and you're right. And you're right.
I actually think these guys, and how Rosalyn said it, I think she nailed it. When the dude didn't get the choreography job or whatever the hell that was, it was like he was a scorned lover at that point. He had nothing to lose at that point. At that point, he's like, you know what? This dude was fucking me. And we're like, oh shit. Because even in a straight relationship, if a wife gets fucked over by her husband, she's gonna come out like, oh, he was abusing me.
And check this out.
It happens.
And check this out too. Also,
so, I believe it. I believe it to the fact that it's not that hard to believe.
No, right. Here's another thing I think too. Also, too.
Let me say this real quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, EJ, can I say this real quick?
Go ahead.
That's the problem. That's the problem when you're a weirdo, right? Is that somebody could say something and it's not that hard to believe. That thing right there is exactly the bigger issue, why this is forever going to live on and why we are going to tend toward believing it happened, because the way he lived made it not that hard to believe that this would be the case. And that is, and again, that is back to your point, EJ, about, us being vulnerable to this sort of big groupthink speak in society, because, now we're basically, it ain't that hard to believe kind of society. Well, it ain't that hard to believe. I mean, you've been running around here with little kids all these years. He probably did. When I'm not saying that's not legit, that's not a legit bit of the first brick of logic that you might build, but ultimately there have to be facts that support it. But in his case, he's just in trouble because it ain't that hard to believe. It ain't that hard to believe because of the behavior, because of the optics, of course, yeah. And again, exactly.
And by the way, G, you're correct about what you said about the 30, 40-year-old man hanging out with 10-year-olds. I get that. Michael Jackson wasn't a typical guy, though. Let's be very, very clear about that. I mean, there was nothing normal. I mean, nothing in his life from the time he was born was normal. The way he was raised wasn't normal.
Maybe rest, my God.
And by the way, I'm not caping for him in the slightest. I'm just giving more context.
No, exactly. We're having this is probably the best conversation I've had about this between the three of us in the time that this has happened, because everybody else is an extreme.
I'm not sure if you guys follow me on Twitter, and cause I've been going off on Twitter with this shit for the last couple of weeks now, and I had to back away from it because I got really to the point where I had to step back because it was just too much. You know when I'm defending Michael, I'm not defending him. I'm defending information that documentaries like this, for example, leave out. You know, they by the way, they never went into the whole thing with him not getting the gig with the MJ1. They never went into all those other details. And there's a lot of stuff now that have been omitted. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but, you know, because this documentary is now gone worldwide, not just in America. A lot of people are finding out inconsistencies, and they've actually omitted stuff from the original documentary now that people have called bullshit on. So it becomes more suspect as it goes on. Now, the problem we have here is the mainstream media and how they're directing the narratives. All these blue check writers and whatnot, you know, co-sign this documentary as though with no context. Well, they sound believable. Okay, guess what, motherfucker? Don't serve in a jury ever, please.
Ultimately, like you said, what you're defending is it ain't that hard to believe. Well, it ain't that hard. Because honestly, what I've heard, and one last little piece I want to say about this. First of all, honestly, what I've heard and the people that have seen it is that beyond what you're hearing, what you're seeing doesn't feel very truthful. Like the way neither of the guys has, and EJ, you can tell me because you saw it, but my friends were saying how there wasn't a lot of emotional reaction to it, like talking about these horrific things that have happened.
There wasn't.
Nobody cried.
There wasn't. Roz.
Nobody's body
the only emotion in the entire fucking documentary was when the Robinson family discussed leaving Australia and their father behind because he had a lot of issues, you know, bipolarism and whatnot. That was the only emotion when he committed suicide. That is it. That's the thing I have been, and that's the thing that again, in my understanding of trauma, I find very shocking. But the other thing is, and this is just a random side piece of information, did y'all know that, like, Neverland was a place like Disney World? Like, it was an actual...
Yeah, it was
theme park.
It's 2,700 acres. 2,700 acres.
Visit? So, I mean, not that, because, again, nobody's at freaking Disney World for months. But it is interesting to add that to the context, because so much when we talk about Neverland, we're talking about his house, which is what he lived there. But the thing was a daggone theme park. So, you know, he built it for kids, or what the heck ever he did, because, again, it ain't that hard to believe he's a strange person. But, that he had kids visiting there sleeping there is another story, but visiting there is not that ridiculous because it's a dang theme park.
Rosalyn, thousands of kids, and you got 4, and 4 of those kids all have major credibility issues. Major.
I never knew that. I guess in all this time I had never processed that the dang on thing was an attraction. Like when we talk about Neverland, we talk about Paisley Park, like that was Prince's house, but Paisley Park was not an attraction for the public and for kids. Like, I never really had sort of processed that Neverland was more than an estate.
It was.
It was actually an attraction, a theme park.
You bring sick kids there. You bring people on field trips there. And by the way, the context matters. Oh, would you see Michael Jackson in his bedroom? Do you understand Michael Jackson's bedroom is fucking a 2-story bedroom and 3 and 2 bathrooms? Yeah. And, like, his bedroom's a fucking house, pretty much. Like, I've seen it before. Yeah. So I know. So...
You know what image I can never shake out of Michael Jackson? I think it was the first time that they raided his house or whatever. The fact that he had, like, that hidden bedroom thing. I think that's the thing I can't shake.
Right, no.
They raided the house and they found, like, the hidden bedroom, and it was like a lair. And I was like, you know what? This dude's
the reason, no. I found
there's no reason why you're Michael Jackson. You live in this mansion. You have a hidden lair, and it wasn't a fucking bomb shelter, EJ.
No, right. This is what I found out, though. Again, and this is why I'm glad it's coming up, because these are things that are being debunked in the media. The reason that it even existed is because a fan one time broke into his house and stayed there while he was sleeping and fucking scared the shit out of him. So he created a kind of like an area where if somebody broke into his fucking house, he had somewhere to go to stay safe.
Whatever.
That's what I heard.
Right, because it ain't that. Listen, so let me just say, let's all touch and agree. May we all be protected from the it ain't that hard to believe mentality. Because we're all kind of weird. Like the three of us are weird as hell in different little ways. So lest we end up in a situation where our dang on weirdness coincides with some criminal investigation. And y'all are like, well, it ain't that hard to believe because she did yoga and, she kind of was a hippie. Like, I just hope that does not happen to me because I had that same reaction. Like, as G's telling me about the secret bedroom, I'm like, that's weird. What the hell does he need that for? And I heard myself I felt myself going down the road. And I'm like, oh, it still just comes down to me saying, well, yeah, it's not that hard to believe that he would do this. Because what the hell he got a secret bedroom for? Because what would he need that for? It's just, oh, my.
But again, we're compromised, compartmentalized, whatever the fucking name word. I'm so fucking like.
I can't say that word either.
I think that's what you're looking for.
Say it again.
Compartmentalize.
I can't say that.
Compartmentalizing, our life for somebody who fucking lived a life that is not normal to ours. Period. Like, correct. Sleeping in a room having a kid come in my bedroom, obviously, very weird because it's a small bedroom. It's a bedroom that's what was like 800 square feet maybe, if that. Whereas Michael Jackson's bedroom is literally a fucking house, literally. Like, correct. Families stay there with him. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of like, for example, there's a part in the documentary also, for example, that when one of the boy's mothers, Save Chuck's mother, when she found out he died, she said that she was so happy he died, whatever, 2009. Yet, this is part of the shit that's come out now that's been court documents for the last couple of years. In the court documents, Save Chuck says he never told anyone about the abuse until 2013. Michael Jackson was dead in 2013 at that point. So there's a lot of inconsistencies if you look through the court stuff and all that. This is why I keep saying this is now their fourth version of the story.
Yeah.
So just saying. Look, again, I'm not. It's very possible he could have been a child molester. I'm not even saying he is or isn't. I'm defending the information out there, and there's reason to believe to be skeptical. That's all. The difference you brought up R. Kelly and Michael Jackson. The difference in the R. Kelly documentary and this one is very simple. Evidence. Period.
No, and this is that point I like to make. Let's be clear. The differences between Michael Jackson and R. Kelly are there is a litany. Like, this is one of the great long lists of the 21st century in the differences between R. Kelly and Michael Jackson, just in general. Like, even for those people who like to, offer conspiracy theories about how, like, they're just going after the black man and all of that. Like, that's cool, but R. Kelly is not Michael Jackson. Like, R. Kelly did not have the power in the music industry that Michael Jackson had. He did not have the money that Michael Jackson had. He did not have the longevity that Michael Jackson had. He is that dude was not.
No.
Like, when we started talking about people wanting to go after and bring down a towering figure in their industry, then Michael Jackson isn't even Bill Cosby. Like, this is a different level of a person who made a ridiculous, who changed their industry completely.
Michael Jackson was an industry in himself because he owned so much shit, especially the music catalogs.
Yeah, so this is
be quite honest.
To me,
for just me, I like R. Kelly's music more than Michael Jackson's.
That's fine. That's fine. A lot of people do.
I'm not. Right. This is not. Certainly, this is not even a conversation about. I'm just saying, like, when people start talking, like, yeah, I mean, Michael Jackson and R. Kelly don't really deserve to be in the same conversation. Not only because of the differences in the documentaries, but again, just when we start putting on our tinfoil hats and really breaking down, like, the circumstances that would encourage some sort of slight of Michael Jackson's hand as opposed to R. Kelly's, not hand, the slight of his name, as opposed to R. Kelly's slight of his name. Like, these are far, far different people who meant far, far different things to the music industry. And that in itself feels disrespectful to me. But at the bare essence, definitely that documentary was very different. Had a lot of people who were brought forth as witnesses, not just the people that it happened to, but the people who were around R. Kelly at the time, who also contributed to the circumstances and the environments that
enabled. And you know what's really fucked up, Roz? You know, even with the R. Kelly documentary being such a slant to slam dunk to R. Kelly, his reputation, whatever. Obviously, that documentary was more balanced than the Leaving Neverland documentary.
Oh yeah, it was. At least you have people trying to defend R. Kelly on there to give their weird other side. You know,
you don't get shit.
And it was funny because every time they tried defending him, it just sounded like they were just digging a deeper hole for him because they're all idiots.
Of course, but at least it was more balanced than the one Michael documentary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'll say that much. But I guess we'll leave with this one. This whole, because now there's obviously there's a lot of mixed views. Some people believe documentaries, some people don't, whatever. This whole idea, I mean, we discussed it on the last podcast about R. Kelly. Now the whole mute Michael Jackson thing, cancel Michael Jackson's cancel culture, fucking stupid cancel culture, so dumb. Just for the record, I'm sorry, dumb.
I like the cancel culture. I'd keep you on your toes.
No, how about that? How about do what you fuck you want to do?
I don't really care. I feel like I listen to Michael Jackson all the time anyway, so they canceled him. I was like, whatever.
It actually be impossible to cancel.
Yeah, but listen, what do you wanted to cry when we had the R. Kelly conversation. Like, R. Kelly was your music.
Oh, yeah. It took me a while to cancel R. Kelly. I admitted I was a piece of shit for that. Right. It took me a while to cancel R. Kelly.
Let me be clear, though, about this. If I ever saw evidence that Michael Jackson did things he did, I would cancel him, not because society tells me to do so, because I couldn't, in good conscience of myself, carry on listening to his music because it would mean something different for me. That's the point
I made about R. Kelly. Like, I can't listen to somebody who I know. Like, again, he also wrote very elementary, nursery rhymey kind of lyrics. Like, and maybe that's because he's not very well educated. R. Kelly is not. But regardless, I think I said it on that pod, which is that if I had tried, like, what I'm hearing is a person singing to little girls, like attracting little girls.
Yes.
And I can't, so I don't need society to tell me that that's what we're doing, because just personally for me, it started to feel like these things were kind of nursery rhymey, kids attraction.
Right. And for the record, Roz, I canceled R. Kelly way before cancel culture even existed.
I canceled him way before this doc came out.
Thank you.
Long,
you and I both.
So I didn't. Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah, you did it.
I mean, no, that's why it's so funny to me.
No, I did. Again, I was still listening to Young Jeezy, R. Kelly, Go Getter before I went to the gym. I was still rocking out. Yep. It's all gone now.
Listen, I almost died. I almost had a G moment because I was doing my hair maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I usually just have music on random. And dude, like Biggie and R. Kelly came up.
After you tonight?
And I had to skip that. And I'm like,
wait. So cameos go too? Even the cameos go?
Oh yeah. I couldn't do it, man.
I can't do it, dude. I was doing a slow walk but it was just full on, like, step by step, like, oh my God, am I really gonna skip this? Oh, because I love that song. So I had.
That's what I'm saying. Like Go Getter, the Young Jeezy song, R. Kelly's one of my favorite songs. Period. And it's like, I can't listen to Go Getter no more. But by the way, Jim, we got 20 minutes before you can make a hard stop. So maybe we should jump off Michael Jackson's voice.
Hard stop.
Because he loves saying hard stop.
Let's name this episode Hard Stop. Okay. Like I said, it is what it is. All right. G, you caused some stir a couple weeks ago on social media. The Colin Kaepernick settlement. Now, this is obviously about 3 weeks old now, and we had to delay the podcast last week because I was sick. Colin Kaepernick settled the NFL, all that. And you were pretty vocal about your position on that. You want to tell the folks where do you stand on the settlement and why you think Kaepernick's a phony for doing what he did?
Let me tell you, man. I'm gonna give you the short version of this, right? I never liked Colin Kaepernick to begin with, right? He did when he initially kneeled down. I thought he was doing it because he lost his starting job and he was just being a bitch about it, right? And I still kind of think in the back of my mind that's what did it. And then when people started ridiculing him because it was out of disrespect, he said the whole thing about police brutality, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I like the spin on it because something did have to be said publicly. And then players followed him. And players were getting ridiculed publicly. I never liked Kaepernick throughout this whole thing because he didn't say a fucking word. But people are trying to prop him up as a black or urban leader. He's no Malcolm. He's no Martin. He wasn't even Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton because all those dudes spoke. Colin Kaepernick said nothing. The only time he spoke is when Nike gave him money to do a fucking commercial. So and then when people came out saying, "Oh, hire Kaepernick for a job," why? Let me tell you, and it was black people who were split on Kaepernick too. Like it wasn't like every black person in the league was 100% behind Kaepernick. You know, it's the truth. You know, so the fact that this settlement came out, he looked like a bitch-made-ass bitch. Because all he did was shut his fucking mouth and get paid. So Colin Kaepernick, and I don't care how anybody tried to twist it on me. They're like, oh, he was securing his bag. Fuck your bag. If you're supposed to be a leader and stand up for something, fuck your bag, dude. You know, that's why I see right through that piece of shit. He's nothing to me. Like, if you could get hush money for a movement like this, you ain't shit. And that's why I stand on Colin Kaepernick.
Hey, G, tell me how you really feel.
Please let me tell. Please let me tell you, G.
Oh.
G. You know, you remember how you like opened your state? Like I went in on R. Kelly about how he was not, he was not important. So like he was not like some sort of big important genius music person. And you're like, I've never disagreed so vehemently with Rob. I have never
boy, here we go.
disagreed. I've never and I can't even like in a hard stop kind of way disagree with you. I get
hard stop.
I just have to throw that in there because I get everything you said. I get that. I just happen to have. So here's my thing. When he first kneeled down, you never liked him. I did. So You're already coming from different places. I liked him as a QB. I struggled with him a little bit. Like first he was kind of vain. They were like, we loving Cap today, and he corrected some journalists, and he was like, it's not Cap K-A-P, it's K-A-E-P. And I'm like, that's kind of douchey. Then he did something with some chick, and I'm like, he didn't do, not the thing he was accused of, which was false, but some other thing. They had him out here being like a man whore, and I was like, I don't know. But then, so then he does the thing, he gets the new chick, and she opens his eyes, because that's what women do, apparently. She gets him to read some books, and now he's, our modern day whatever. Well, first of all, I don't support any modern day whatever. I'm over that whole idea. All of those people that you named that he's not, those were all opportunists. The Martins, the Sharptons, the whatever. Now, no disrespect. I know how y'all feel about Dr. Martin Luther King, so no disrespect. This man, how we all feel about what he sacrificed and what he did. But ultimately, there's a bit of you that has to be an opportunist that wants to get up and be and talk all the time. Like that has to be a thing in you. And so they all sort of had that, Jesse Jackson for sure. They all sort of had that thing that allowed them to want to be in front of the camera. Okay, cool. So Cap kneels, and he does say something for like the first couple of times, and everything he says is dead wrong. Like he wears the pig socks. They ask him about it. He says the wrong thing. Something else happened. They ask him about it. He says the wrong thing. And they rail him for like 2 weeks. And then I appreciate it as a former PR person. I appreciate him not talking after that because he couldn't figure out, like whatever he learned during his book readings, he still was on the fringe of understanding how to be inside of a movement and how to articulate a movement. I don't think he was where he needed to be talking. So what he did was he shut up, and I'm cool with that because it put him in a position where nobody could take his words out of context, but he didn't stop doing what he was doing. He didn't stop the dang on know your rights camps. He didn't stop giving away suits. He didn't stop any of that. So I was like, I'm cool. All right, fast forward. He sues the league. Now, what he sued the league for, which is what I wrote on your lovely post, was not so he could kneel. He sued the league because he knew that he had been discriminated against because he knelt. Those are two different matters. And I don't have a problem with him being paid because he was discriminated against. I don't have that problem. because that's actually a thing that happened to him as an individual, because he was the first person to do it, I guess. And he was definitely the first person to take all of the blame for other players doing it. And he was the person that was criticized the most for it. I don't have a problem with the money he got for that settlement, because he wasn't suing for the right to kneel. He was suing because he knelt and was discriminated against. But if you think he's an asshole to begin with, you're probably going to think he's an asshole in that, and I support you in that 100%. I just disagree with some of the fundamental reasoning behind how you have thought of him as an asshole since. But I honestly don't think he needs to talk. Because I don't know because again, to be in front of a movement as important as this, you need a lot of more information. And I'm talking about years and years and years of understanding how political activism goes. You need to know how to handle yourself, know what the hell to say. And I don't know that he was where he needed to be when he started. He might be there now, but he definitely wasn't there 14, 15 months ago. So he kind of needed to keep his mouth shut, because he was going to derail the whole freaking thing. I'm trying to see if there's one other point.
No, I love it. Keep going. I love it.
No. I was trying to remember if there's one other point that G made. And yeah, and a lot of players, look, this thing is like, nothing is ever black and white. Ever. Like, as much as we want to try to make it be, very easy, it's never ever black and white. So certainly players and black people in general felt that he may have been doing this thing so that he could get a job or raise his public profile now that he didn't have a job. That's certainly a possibility. But so we were going to be divided on that anyway. But to this point, I don't have a problem with what he's done. Now, I will have a problem is a good portion of this money that he gets, whatever it is, doesn't continue to go to the programs that he paid for out of his pocket.
That's the question.
Now, if I start all of a sudden, I don't hear nothing else about the freaking Know Your Rights camp, and I don't see no more, soup given away, then I'm going to say, okay, now we got to have a different conversation.
Right.
Because if you were willing to spend your own money on that before, why not spend some of this settlement?
But to my knowledge, that has not stopped. That's for the record. So to my knowledge, that has not stopped. So I mean, he's doing his job. And for the record, I've been one of the most critical Kaepernick guys out there in media. I've been very critical of the way he handled things. Me and G were talking about how that. Why don't you say something, at least something, instead of having third party talk for you all the time, But again, I can see why, at the same time, media, especially, I mean, it's discussed in the last segment, mainstream media can't be trusted anymore. Sorry. Everything's agenda based now too. So I mean, I get why Kevin doesn't want to say anything publicly, necessarily, but as long as as long as the activism does not end because of the settlement, I'm game for him, doing what he has to do.
I'm all for one problem that I think that black people, one thing that we are very vulnerable to right now at this point is that there is this new sort of cultural coolness that we're adding into our activism, and sometimes we're not as informed as we need to be about the circumstances and the environment and the legislation and all the stuff that creates the fertile ground for us to be discriminated against. And so a lot of times I hear things that feel like they are very minimizing to a larger part of the struggle when people are just throwing these sound bites out. So I like it when my people are informed. And I mean significantly informed through history. And again, that's probably the political science major in me. But I'm saying significantly informed about what the hell you're doing and how we got here and what can actually happen that'll change that. And so in the absence of you being able to have that kind of conversation, I'm cool with you not saying anything and just doing your little part off to the side, which is giving away suits, making sure kids know that when they get pulled over, they can say they got these rights, even though might still die. Bless our hearts, we might still die. Yeah. But at least somebody's going to know their rights. So I'm cool. If that's your niche, get in that thing and do that thing the best way you know how. But don't try to start commenting on big social issues that you have not spent a lot of time reading about. You don't know. And I'm not saying that is the case with Kaepernick because I don't live with the man. But when he was starting out, he clearly had a desire to be a significant figure in the fight. And I think he probably needed some more time to get to a place where he could speak articulately and thoroughly all the time about what he was doing. And he made some missteps. And I was fine that he shut up. And I don't want anybody trivializing my struggle because somebody else don't know how to say what the hell needs to be said. So sometimes I just like when they shut up.
Right. I feel like Rosalyn's dominated this fucking show. Like, dominated it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes,
no,
yeah.
I'm done.
I love it.
No,
it's great.
Please,
it's like Pippen. It's like, dude, like literally, she's like slam dunk. She's literally Scottie Pippen dunking on Patrick Ewing, balls to the face. Period.
No. I'm not. And listen, you got like 10 minutes left before your hard stop. So I'm not going to talk anymore.
Hard stop. Name. That's the episode. Today's episode's name. Finally, before we go, we got 10 minutes. NFL free agency. Lots of big freaking things happening this week. Antonio Brown gets traded to the Raiders. Odell Beckham gets traded to the Browns. There's a lot of big names moving around here and there. What stands out to you, G, in free agency so far?
The fact that you should not have to pay a wide receiver a huge mega deal because the two best ones just got traded in the same year. You know, I mean, especially when they're the diva wide receiver, which and Brown and Odell Beckham are. You don't need to pay these guys. Let me tell you, the Steelers have always drafted and cranked out wide receivers. They ain't gonna miss Antonio Brown. The Steelers have traditionally always drafted good wide receivers. You know, and when it comes to the Giants, Odell should have never got paid last year. You're rebuilding. The last piece you need to rebuild is the wide receiver. That's the last piece you need to rebuild.
Cherry on top.
You know. So to me, it just shows everybody. If you're giving that huge contract, you better be in a position where you're in the playoffs, like kind of like the Falcons. You know, the Falcons gave Julio that contract. The Falcons, like, you know, for the next 4 or 5 years, we expect to be in contention. Fine. You know, but I mean, that's what I get out of it. Other than that, safeties are getting ridiculous contracts, which I didn't see coming.
Let me ask you this quick: the return the Giants got on that trade, they got back Jabril Peppers from the Browns, DB, the number 17 pick in the first round, the Browns pick, obviously, and the third round pick in the draft. Was that a good enough return for the Giants? You think?
I mean, I don't know, because I know the Giants were shopping him around. I definitely know when the Bills struck out with AB, the Giants called the Bills first to see what they would want for Odell. Obviously, the Bills didn't have the collateral. Browns have had draft picks and stock and draft picks forever. You know, so I guess this was it for the Giants. You know, and there's already a relationship there because last week they did a trade when they traded the defensive end of Oliver for the offensive guard.
Olivia Vernon, Olivia Vernon.
You know, so there was already a talking relationship there. For the Giants, though, that they have a collateral for this year, which I think they should just trade a second or third round pick to Arizona and get Josh Rosen on that roster.
Well, the rumor is that actually may be the case because that actually may be on the table because last night I saw a report that the Giants will be interested in him. And by the way, I saw a report too about Josh Rosen that his guaranteed money's already gone. So really, in retrospect, he's playing for the next 3 years for 3 years, $6 million. So at a bargain.
That's great.
So
that's great. You know, like that's the way I think Rosen is better than any quarterback coming out this year. You know, so I mean, if you're the Giants, you make that play, and for the next 2 years, you start building it up, and you have the draft picks right now to start it up. So I hate the Giants, but if I was a Giants GM, that's the smartest move to do right now.
So you think the Giants did the right thing when they did the right thing 2 weeks ago? In other words.
Yeah, I would think they did.
Okay, Rosalyn, what's it out to you in free agency?
Everything G just said, actually. I mean, certainly it's a good year. No, seriously. I mean, again, I love G, so we mostly agree on almost everything. But, yeah, I was very surprised, but also I agree that it's spinning out on your wide receiver is ridiculous. And I was just thinking about, when you were talking about the Steelers, I was just thinking about, like, even the Plaxico Burress days. Like, they are, like, they don't mind. They'll
Hines
get you,
Ward.
and they'll make you dope. And then Hines Ward, and then, like, when it's time for you to go, like, whether it's prematurely or whether you've been an amazing partner to the organization for years, they're done. Yeah, they're done. So, you know, I don't know what AB was thinking was going to happen, but bless his whole heart.
He got what he wanted. He got his money. He got what he wanted. He got everything he wanted.
Well, they don't always just want the money. I'm sure they dream of being in these amazing stellar franchises as well. I think. I mean, I hope. That's
the Raiders are. The Raiders are a joke, but they're still a legacy franchise. So I mean, if the Raiders turn things around next couple of years, I mean, that will look pretty good on his resume.
But are they really really? Because the real Cleveland Browns are Baltimore, so are they really a legacy franchise?
Well, wait.
Right.
The Raiders, yeah. The Raiders, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about the Browns. I'm sorry. I was like, are they really, though?
No, the Raiders, yes, not the Browns, no.
Yeah, the Raiders, definitely.
The Browns don't have Jay Slater, come on.
Hey, man.
Hey, let's go. Go ahead, Roz, I'm sorry.
No, that was it. No. That was all I had to say about that because I'm not talking anymore.
Well, it's funny. Like, this is sort of an abbreviated podcast, but yeah, we actually went for 50 minutes. Not bad.
Yeah, and about 45 are about Michael Jackson touching boys.
Yeah, that too.
He is going to give you a hard time. Like, listen, so when G was talking about how, like, all the people that defended R. Kelly in the doc sounded like they were ultimately reinforcing, I think he was taking a dig at you. Like, how you were defending Mike, but ultimately might have been reinforcing the fact.
Yeah, but I'm winning, though. I don't have any evidence my guy did anything yet, so.
When you start talking about how, like, he had reason for the secret role, I think G, in the back of his mind, was like, see, he sounded like one of these people that tried to defend R. Kelly, but it's not working out.
But Roz, here's the thing people don't understand. I didn't even need the fucking documentary. I knew fucking 15, 20 years ago the guy was a pedophile, okay? I saw the fucking video. That's all you need to know. I saw the marriage license, the legal marriage license. That's all I need to know.
Well, let me just be clear, because you can't just, I didn't see the video in case, the FBI is listening to this call and wants to, like, charge me backside for, like,
it's him.
Whatever. I didn't see the R. Kelly video.
It's him.
But I knew it happened.
It's him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, I canceled a guy long before it was even cancel culture even existed. So, again, I win. G.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Daddy G.
I never lose.
Daddy Gras. Okay, Roz, what's going on with you before we let you go? We guys, Roz, anything to plug? Movies, red carpet.
Yeah.
Are you dating? I don't know. Do you have any new actor or actresses you're working with these days that, I don't know. What's going on?
I'm pretty close to getting my first feature film role of the year. So we'll see what's up with that. Maybe
one step closer to forgetting about us.
Been offered it. Huh?
One step closer to forgetting about us. Good job.
No, not at all. Please, we're gonna do this forever in perpetuity.
Nice. Yes, I like it.
It can never stop. Well, I don't know. Once G has the baby, we might not. He's got to figure that thing out.
G be all right.
So he might not be.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
All right.
He'll be all right.
I'll be fine. I'll be perfectly fine.
He'll be all right. He'll be fine.
You got to give him. You got to totally irritate him. You got to give him some tips on how to raise your baby. How to raise your baby while also podcasting regularly. And I'm sure he'll just.
Well, right now, as we speak, my almost 2-year-old in a few weeks is on my lap right now. So, just saying.
G, are you taking notes?
No, I just figure, what is that, chloroform? You just put that over their face and they knock out?
Gee, what you got going on, brother? I know you got the Bears Brawl website now and the podcast going around free agency. What else you got going on?
Yeah, for anybody interested, you can check out thebearsbrawl.com, because we have the free agent tracker on there. If you ever need updates on anything on free agency besides Chicago Bears, I want to thank the Chicago Bear Nation, because we've been actually really killing it numbers-wise on the website and on the podcast, so really, really glad for all that. Other than that, Street Smart Football will not be coming back until probably the day before my baby is born, so that should be really fun.
Why is that?
And then that's it. That's about it. I don't got nothing else going on. My life isn't that exciting, so that's about it.
My advice to you, G, get as much sleep as possible. Between now and then.
You know what's great? I don't sleep anyway, so whatever.
That's true.
Yeah, like I go to bed at 8:30, and then I always wake up at 11 o'clock. And then I don't go back to bed till like 11:45, and then I wake up to either go to the gym or go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I don't sleep, man.
There you go. Anyway, Roz, G, great job as always. Next month, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're on.
All right, hard stop. Gotta go. Later.
Later.
Right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.